Alright guys, today we're going to talk about blood alcohol content. First question is, what is blood alcohol content? Well, blood alcohol content is used as a metric of alcohol intoxication for legal or medical purposes. It's usually expressed as a percentage of ethanol in the blood in units of mass of alcohol per volume of the blood. So like in layman terms, it means like the percent of alcohol in your blood. First thing that's important to know is that it's actually different for men and women. Sorry girls, but it is true that you guys get drunk a little faster. It's not a huge amount, but it's enough that it affects it, for the legal limit at least. The second thing is, the lighter you weigh, the faster alcohol affects you. So like for example, 2 drinks for a 100-pound woman would give her a blood alcohol content of about 0.09. While 2 drinks for a 240-pound woman would have her at a blood alcohol content of 0.04. So that's the difference between 0.05, which is quite a big difference. Vice versa, a man that weighs 120 pounds that drinks 3 drinks would have a blood alcohol content of 0.09. And if he weighed 240 pounds, his blood alcohol content would only be at 0.03. And the last major thing to remember about blood alcohol content is that for every hour that passes by, you subtract 0.015 from your blood alcohol content if you wanted to calculate. And if you look on the screen, the picture, it shows you where the number of drinks you have and your body weight, and it shows you like where you are on the scale, and if you're in the legal limit, if you have a possibility of getting sick, or like it shows you the symptoms as well as what you'd be feeling at that alcohol level. Now that you know what BAC stands for and what it is, you're probably wondering, well, what actually equals 1 drink? Because I mean, there's different sized beers, there's all this stuff. So for beer specifically, 12 ounces of beer that's around like 5% alcohol is considered 1 drink. So when you calculate every 12 ounces of beer you have, you'd calculate that into how much your body weight is, and it would show you what your BAC would be. When it comes to liquor, it's different. It's 1.5 ounces of liquor at 40% like alcohol. So that's about 1.5 shots of, let's say, Jack Daniels. And that would be the standard for 1 standard drink. So that would equal 12 ounces of beer at 5%. And lastly, for wine, 5 ounces of red wine, that's 12% alcohol, equals 1 standard drink. So 5 ounces of wine would equal 1.5 shots of liquor or 12 ounces of beer. One of the things you should always check is the alcohol percentage of the drink you're actually drinking, because there's certain beers that are like closer to 10% alcohol, and there's certain liquors that are closer to, 50% alcohol, and wine sometimes is a little different and stronger. So when you're trying to calculate your BAC, remember to check the alcohol percentage to see what it is. When it comes to the legal limit to drive for your BAC is 0.08. Now, if you're wondering why you need to know that, if you get arrested or if you get pulled over and you blow over a 0.08, you'll be arrested and charged with a DWI. And just if you're wondering, first time you get a DWI, it's up to a $2,000 fine. It's a maximum of 6 months in jail and a maximum of 100 hours of community service. Altogether, including about lawyer fees and court fees and everything, it's going to be around $17,000. And it's especially bad in the state of Texas, because in the state of Texas, it always stays on your criminal record. And also, your license will be suspended. Now, if you weren't smart enough after the first time, the second time, you get up to a $4,000 fine, up to a year in jail, up to 200 hours of community service, and then they install a deep lung air device in your car, which is pretty much a breathalyzer that you have to blow in to start your engine. And if there's any alcohol in your system, it will not let you drive. And your license can get suspended for up to 2 years. And now, if you just for some reason are just not thinking straight, and it happens the third time, it's a felony, and you will serve prison time. And it kind of shows your judgment if you let yourself get 3 DWIs. One of the serious risks when it comes to blood alcohol levels is alcohol poisoning. There's been 2,200 people in the U.S. die per year because of alcohol poisoning. And I just want to teach you guys a little bit about some signs and symptoms you can look for just to see, if there's a person you're with, if they're too drunk, if they're showing any of these signs or symptoms, you might want to get them to a doctor because they could be suffering from alcohol poisoning. Some of the signs and symptoms are confusion or stupor, if they're unconscious, if you have like an inability to stay awake, vomiting, inhibited gag reflex, seizures. If their breathing slows down, count, and if it's less than 8 per minute, then they need to go to the hospital. If their skin starts getting a little blue or cold, and if their body temperature lows down, those are all possible signs that they could be suffering from alcohol poisoning. And just in case you're a minor and you're at a party and you're scared to call the cops if you think someone has alcohol poisoning, they have a new law that allows you to call and not get in trouble for drinking or anything like that. They just want the safety of the person. So they have a new law to where you can call and not get in trouble. So just if you're a minor, just keep that in mind. If you see someone suffering from alcohol poisoning, that you will not get in trouble if you call. And finally, guys, I just want to remind you guys to while you're drinking, to have fun, but please drink responsibly and do not drink and drive. Have a good one, guys.